I'm so thankful for what yoga's become in the US because 20 years ago, finding a gentle yoga class would have been impossible. And now, yoga has really changed over the years, especially for older women. It used to be all about intense poses. Now it's all about what works best for each person. You're not forced to do what the teacher wants to do. Welcome, my dear listeners, to another mind boggling, soul stretching, and slightly mischievous episode of the extended family of healing arts. Today, we're going to shake things up a bit and challenge the notion that yoga and Ayurveda are like sisters. We're going to talk about the journey of yoga and the yoga that started as yoga in the US and what it is now. Yoga biz in the US is booming. We are talking a serious money making machine projected to be worth a whopping $200 billion by 2030. Now, that's enough dosh to buy every woman on the planet a pair of yoga pants and then some. Turns out feeling zen is way more addictive than another Instagram worthy squat. The story of yoga in the US. It's a really interesting story, actually. It wasn't like boom, suddenly, and everybody was doing a downward dog. It was more of a slow build over the 20th century with different teachers bringing different philosophies and different styles every decade. And imagine these early yoga folks, real pioneers of the whole wellness scene. They tapped into something Americans were really craving, a way to find balance both physically and spiritually. So I started doing yoga when I was a kid. So obviously I could be bendy. Then I kind of gave it up and then I restarted in my 20s. Again, I was bendy. I was going to hatha yoga classes. But then childbirth, aging, then I didn't do yoga for about almost 15 years. Weight gain, working, life happened. And I've come back to yoga now. I'm menopausal and my body's not the same. I'm no longer bendy. And you know what? I'm so thankful for what yoga's become in the US because 20 years ago, finding a gentle yoga class would have been impossible. And now, yeah, you can be yourself and it's okay to take your time. And I'm grateful for the evolution of yoga. And now, it really, yoga has really changed. And now, yoga has really changed over the years, especially for older women. It used to be all about intense poses. Now it's all about what works best for each person. You're not forced to do what the teacher wants to do. So let's talk about how things have shifted. So yoga has become much more accessible and gentler. Yoga teachers are not forcing anyone into anything anymore. The whole point is adapting the practice to fit your body, your mood, how you feel, and your limitations, and not the other way around. So think of it as accessible yoga being an umbrella terms for styles designed for folks dealing with all age-related stuff, illness, disabilities, and chair yoga. It's such a great thing. It's a huge part of that. Now, restorative yoga was a four-letter word even like 10 years ago. And now restorative yoga is so popular. Of course, Iyengar's always been popular, so has been Hatha. But now there's menopause yoga, and it's specifically designed to help with those tricky symptoms. And any class which focuses on slow, mindful movements and pays close attention to proper alignment and, using props. So when I did my yoga teacher training with my teacher, there was no mirrors in her yoga shala. And I'm like, why do you not have mirrors? She was the first person in the United States I saw who had no mirrors. Even in India, we have no mirrors. I mean, it doesn't even make sense why somebody would have mirrors. I mean, yoga is an internal practice. And she barely had any music. She would have music for Shavasana or something, but it was just the sound of her voice and the asana. And she wanted to hear each one of us breathe. And this is one way that yoga classes have changed in the US in the last 2 decades is every place has mirrors and there's always gentle music sometimes keep it playing and it's always great music, but sometimes the music is distracting. But one thing I've noticed that a lot of yoga teachers are now using just music but no words, no songs. So just music will have less distractions. And I notice, at least in the yoga classes that I attend, that they turn off the AC because the AC is cranked up to, I don't know, 66 white person weather in this heat. And yeah, you turn off the AC or you make it a more human temperature in a yoga class. So that is another thing that's changed. And do what you like. People are bringing their water bottles, their shoes, even their purse, all on the yoga shala on the mat. So a person next on the mat, sometimes I'm twisting and I see their shoes in front of me. Now, that's the only thing I don't like about what yoga's become now. I don't want to look at your shoes on your yoga mat. Put your shoes outside. Of course, this doesn't happen in yoga shalas, and I'm talking about a gym. In the gym, they're just going to bring their shoes in, they're going to bring your water bottles in, and they're putting their water bottle in shoe. And then whenever you feel like it, they're getting up, they're putting on their shoes, walking out, coming back. In one sense, that doesn't bother me, just the shoes do. But yeah, that's another way to change. Having said that, yoga shalas or proper yoga studios, they do expect you to take your shoes outside, and they will tell you that if you need to go out, go when they're taking a break from the asanas. Ayurveda comes from Sankhya philosophy and yoga comes from yoga philosophy. They're two separate systems of philosophies within the umbrella system of the six systems in ancient times called darshanas or shad darshanas. Ayurveda and yoga use each other. They are codependent, interdependent. The yoga textbook that is used is Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. It does not predate the Vedas. Vedas came first, yoga came later. In fact, the yoga that is done in the US of A is not really the yoga that's written in those ancient texts. I mean, what with hot yoga and goat yoga and six pack yoga and whatnot. It's a different one. There's the yoga that's a lifestyle, and there's the yoga, a part of yoga called asana, which is the poses. Only the pose part is practiced here. Yoga comes from the root word yuja, meaning to join together. Aim and objective is to connect with the divine. So, how would an Ayurveda practitioner use the practice of yoga if a person has constipation or digestive issues, meaning that their vata, which resides in the colon, has a little bit of a problem, then vata is not going down, is what an Ayurveda practitioner would say. So, suggesting gentle yoga, for example, malasana or the squats, which brings grounding poses that brings the vata down, would be suggested. Apanasana, it is called. Or or taking the knee and putting the knee over the abdomen. Pressing the knee down on the abdomen would push this apana would push this excessive air in the gut out. So malasana is a good one. For pitta, all kind of twists. So pitta resides in the liver, the gallbladder, and the spleen. So when we are doing any kind of twisting exercises, that is really good for releasing heat. And of course, there is the Bhastrika Pranayam. Now, Bhastrika Pranayam is a fire bellow breath. You would think that, it'll increase fire and heat in the body, and it does. In the first 2 minutes, you're like, whoa, that really made me hot. It's fire breath. But then, just like if you go in a sweat lodge and as you sweat, you cool down, Bhastrika sometimes can cool you down. You obviously want to do it under a yoga teacher. But so pranayam, fire breath can be used. For example, if you ate something which is super hot and you go, oh my God, that's hot. And with your mouth open and your tongue hanging out, that breathing that you're doing, that is Shitali breath. That is a cooling breathing that you do naturally. So that thing that you're going, that is Shitali breath. But one thing the yoga classes have changed is their cost. I mean, 2 decades ago, one thing, the way yoga classes have changed is a cost. A standalone yoga cost is easily $25, $30 in a big city, $25 here in a smaller city. And even the donation, you could get away with giving a $10 donation some years ago. Now it's a $15-20 donation. And in places like LA, I've heard the cost of a single yoga class is $30 to $40. Um, this is why online live yoga classes have become so popular. And I love that. I mean, if I could go to a yoga class once or twice a week in person, because, get ready, reach the yoga shala 10-15 minutes before, make sure you grab your mat and, grab a place. Otherwise, it gets too crowded. And then the yoga starts. And then after the class, you go. So it's almost 2 hours are gone. And if you can do some online live yoga classes, there's so many people who are offering it. I've tried now a couple of those, and I'd love to give a review. I even tried some live yoga classes from India. One thing about what they call a beginner live yoga class from India is not really a beginner class. Their beginner class had like 7 sun salutation or 9 sun salutation, which would be an advanced class here in the U.S. So when you go for a live yoga class for online on Zoom from an Indian teacher, remember when they say it's easy, it ain't easy. It's difficult. Uh, but it was still fantastic. Whereas the aim and objective here in the yoga studios is to kind of feel good about your body, show off those yoga pants, and, just feel good in your body, basically. But yoga is not asana. Yoga is divided into 8 portions. Ashta anga. Ashta means 8. Anga means portions or limbs. Asana is one of the limbs, one of the angas. Asana is 1/8 of yoga practice. And it's only the asana that is practiced here. And I'm not going to judge it. I spent a lot of time judging it. Well, I hope you liked this podcast, and I'll see you again next week.